There's this man's photo on the wall of my father's office at home. You know, where father brings his work, where he doesn't look strange, still wearing his green uniform and colored breastplates, where, to prove that he works hard, he also brought a photo of his boss, whom he calls Apo, so Apo could, hang around on the wall behind him and look over his shoulders to make sure he's nappy and all. Father snapped at me once, caught me sneaking around his office. At home, looking at the stuff on his wall, handguns, plaques, a sword, medals, a rifle, told me that was no place for a boy. Only men when he didn't really have to tell me because, that photo of Apo on the wall was already looking at me around, his eyes following me like he was that scary Jesus in the hallway, saying, I know what you're doing.
For you, what is your perspective on martial law?
There are two different types of perspective, one with a positive and a negative side. Okay, so first, for the perspective of martial law, again, if you can define what martial law is, again, it's only the president who can declare martial law. Okay? Martial law can be good and it can have bad implications. It depends. What was heightened during that time was the negative ones. People were tortured, for example. Okay, if you found out that you were roaming around, you were roaming around past the curfew period, you would be caught and then put to jail. The next day, you were going to be fetched by your parents, for example. In terms of in the economy side, martial law can be very difficult for investors, for example. Okay, a lot of businesses were, I heard, were closed. Okay, because of that. The country was in turmoil. So how can people sell their goods if there is trouble, if there is danger, if you call it? Okay, so it's very very difficult for the people who are doing business at that time.
Are you in favor of martial law?
In favor of martial law, it depends. It depends. I think the better question is it necessary to declare martial law and when it will be necessary to declare martial law? To declare martial law, again, it depends. No? When is it possible? For example, if security-wise it's very difficult to control, if it's going to be out of control, then just like what President Marcos said, that it would be wise to declare martial law, okay? So that we put everything into order, okay? So again, it depends.
What is the impact of martial law in our country?
The impact of martial law, number one, it made history. Okay, September 21st, it made history. Politically wise, well, the government was restructured in a way. Okay. Economically, a lot of businesses were unstable. Okay. At least here, if you declare martial law, you're putting things back into order. Okay. Curfew, for example. Okay. I think the number one there was the curfew because a lot of students, students, for example, or vagrants. Okay, those people roaming around on the streets. Okay, security. Okay, very important. It's as if you came back to square one. Okay, from the very beginning. So put things into order. Okay, and hoping that everything will be okay.
Morning, sir.
Hello,
for
good
you,
morning.
sir, what is your perspective with martial law?
Well, it's enshrined It's just that what would be the purpose or what would be the reason behind it? And you know, back during the time of President Marcos, he called he called for martial law because he wanted to stay on as a ruler because his term was already up. Now, when he calls himself when he called for martial law, his term as president became unlimited. And actually, I was like what 7 years old when martial law was called, and I was already like 15 when it was like lifted. It was for a number of years, but during those time, people were really like scared of what they'd say. And during that time, looking back, there were so many people who got lost. Okay, and that's probably where the term salvage started to come. There were lots of sons, there were lots of brothers, sisters who did not return home. Okay, and those who were arrested, they were arrested by the truckloads. People were scared of saying anything. You know, one of the things that is lifted is your right to due process. They could arrest you for no good reason. It's just like they think you are against the government. They think you are a suspect, and even if you're not, because you know what Marcos started to do? He started to arrest all his opponents. So that's what he jailed them all, and even the newspapers, he locked them all up. So there was no like free press. Okay.
It is necessary to declare martial law.
Well, I try to look at it this way. Maybe the President Duterte, holds information that we do not know. Maybe
About kay, ano sir, kay...
for Ferdinand Marcos, was it necessary? It was necessary for him because he wanted to stay on. But for today's president, because he declared it, maybe he knows some good reason to declare it. But maybe it's not the... Personally, I think declaring martial law could have been in a limited area only. Because look, you know, in Jansan, like we're so far away from trouble, maybe there should, you know, it's bad to business. People will not be going here because of martial law. Everybody's going to be like scared of it, no?
What is the impact of martial law in our country, sir?
Well, look at it this way. In our country, well, it would scare people for one. If we're inviting investors to come over, they'd be scared. No, they would want a democratic space. Martial law, you see, will not be a good business ground. It's like things are not stable. They could get arrested. Their goods could be confiscated. So it's so unsure. For me, like right today, we have checkpoints. We have so many soldiers. We see so many of them. That can happen even without martial law. But to put martial law in place, it scares people. In fact, the sooner that it is lifted, the better it will be. Because we're a democratic country. We can for me, those terrorists, I think all of us are in agreement. Let's get all those terrorists. Let's capture them. They are against life. They are our enemies. But maybe we can do that without martial law. Maybe there's no need. But maybe he has good reason, no? Maybe he's thinking that he'd be able to capture them faster. Well, he's been given how many? He's already been given 2 months. So, how many more months do you need, Mr. President? No, get it over quickly. It's not a good thing. It's not. So many things get cancelled. Like if their families probably planning to visit Mindanao, they probably will not this time.
For you, what is your perspective on martial law?
I can consider that as the dark ages in the Philippine history. During those years, people were very afraid of the government. People were executed without due process. Lots of people died. Lots of people lost their lives. People lost their loved ones. And for me, that's dark ages of Philippine history.
Would you like to live in that world?
Well, luckily I was not born during those time. If I was born during those time, I would rather leave the Philippines. I don't want to live here in the Philippines during martial law.
Was it necessary to declare martial law?
Declaring martial law will be lots of bases. Rebellion, invasion. According to Marcos, during those years, there was a rebellion. So the question is, was it necessary? I think during those years, it was necessary because there was a rebellion. But then again, the implementation was very wrong. They go beyond the limit of implementing martial law.
What is the impact of martial law in our country?
There were positive and negative impacts of martial law. The positive there was the command, the decision was directly coming from the president, imposed by the military. But the negative part there was people did not trust the government anymore. Corruption were very rampant before. People from other places don't want to come here in the Philippines. That's why our economy before went down during martial law.
For the present martial law, what do you think about the possible extension of martial law today?
As I've heard on the news, the possible extension will be additional 60 days. But then again, one of the secretaries of President Duterte told the media last night that it will be until December 31 this year. Well, extending martial law will have a very big impact, negative impact to our economy, because once there is a martial law in a particular place, tendencies are investors will not go inside that city or in that place. They will go out. Businesses will be closed. Security will be very strict. That will make people hesitant, will be hesitant to go inside that city. For example, you will implement until December 31, what will happen to the economy of Mindanao? For me, possible extension will have a very disadvantaged effect in our economy, especially in Mindanao.